Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Leo suns, or if you have any significant Leo placements in your chart and are needing to work with or rebalance masculine energies within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Leo, let's get started. We're starting off here with these three cards. So we have the Sun card, light, protection, cave, and then speaking your word, voice, which is really interesting because I feel like, so this is the context of the reading at the bottom of the deck, but for the current energy, you actually have the Sun as your first card. So you have the Sun card twice. What's important about this one, though, is I describe this one as being sort of like a rare circumstance where there's just a lot of things lining up in the exactly the right sort of alignment in order for you to experience something almost miraculous is kind of how I describe this card. And it causes sort of like people to gather is what this is feeling like. So for you, Leo, it kind of feels like, I want to say that this is you actually. There's some, because you're coming at your first card is the Sun. It kind of feels like there's something happening in your life because the Sun is also the ruler of the sign Leo, that there's something happening in your life that's making you like a rare alignment of events or something like that, where it's making you appear like the Sun to others in your life is how this is feeling. Or like just there's people gathering is kind of how it's feeling around you perhaps, or something like that. And I feel like that's like normally a very comfortable position for you, Leo. And it kind of feels like in the midst of this gathering, there's an energy here that you are pulling on. It's kind of how it's feeling, where it's like there's something here around you that's perhaps causing a little bit of confusion or triggering this reaction, right? The protection cave. It's causing you to like want to protect your energy because there's something in the vicinity, right? There's something that has been drawn to your light that is causing this, right? So it could be a fear response of some sort. It doesn't necessarily feel like that though. It's just kind of feeling like an unknown, right? There's some sort of unknown that's causing this energy. And then the speaking your voice. So I feel like that's going to be made clear soon is what this is feeling like. It's kind of feeling like a liberation from that energy is how I often see this card, right? It's just like being free to speak your voice or something like that, to speak up about it perhaps. So that's the overall context of the reading. We're going to get into the actual reading part. So we're starting off here with the Sun and the Blood card, which is so interesting because it kind of feels like, I feel like you, Leo, are just feeling really good about yourself is what this is feeling like. Perhaps specifically in terms of like your physical body or your physical environment, because the Blood card talks about physicality, right? The very sort of like, perhaps like Capricornish kind of energy. Like it just feels like you're feeling very good in yourself, your body, your accomplishments, the things that you're building, that kind of thing. It was coming through as like life force and vitality that I feel like people look at you, Leo, and it's just like you're on fire basically, right? Like that's how I want to say that other people are seeing you and that's how you're feeling, right? Which is really lovely. And then what's interesting here is that these two cards came out next. So the Ash and the Mass Confusion are the Chaos card, which is so interesting. So they came out at the same time out of the deck, but they almost like flipped in in opposite directions, which is really interesting. And the Ash card was in reverse so it could be that this is something that you're not necessarily seeing, right? Because of this triangle. So it's kind of feeling like, so the Ash card talks about memories from the past. So it could be like past relationships. It could just be like past situations. It could be something like there was something here, something about what it's related to what you're doing now. So whatever it is that you're doing now, there's a similar, I want to say, experience or something from the past that is being brought up or being like triggered in some way with the protection card. Like this past memory is causing this sort of reaction in response to what you are doing now, is kind of how this is feeling, because I want to say that this needs to be cleared. And I want to say that perhaps it's also like maybe you are not seeing this as clearly as it wants to be seen. And I feel like that's what's causing sort of this mass confusion. I know it's chaos. It says chaos, but the Latin words just look like mass confusion to me. So it's just talking about like this card talks about an overwhelm. I don't want to necessarily say it's an overwhelm, but it's just kind of like, you know, that there's something there beneath the darkness. What that darkness is hiding is this ash energy, something from the past that perhaps you're holding on to. It's kind of feeling like that it's something that you need to look, because it kind of feels like there may be a specific relationship or dynamic or something like that. I was just getting, before this reading, I was just like, I was very much being pulled into this ash energy before I pulled the cards. And it was just kind of like, looking back at when I was a teacher, there was this specific relationship dynamic with like one of my students where I was put in a difficult position of having to make a decision about that student's future, is kind of how it was feeling like, right? Like, and that's such a, I feel like there's something about that, your situation, where it's like there's something being hidden from you, because it was like there was some sort of decision, I want to say, that you made in the past that was difficult, and perhaps you're like, there may be regret. I don't want to necessarily say it's that, but it's something that still sort of tugs on you, right? Like maybe I could have done that differently, or what if I had done something else, right? Like maybe there was something like that where it was like there's some sort of situation here that is somehow related to what you're doing now, that it's like, it's kind of like a similar situation, or there's like echoes of the same sort of decision-making process, where it's like, is there a way that you can do this situation over so that it doesn't end up as being something that you regret, or something like that. So, which is really interesting. But what you have next here, because I feel like on some level, this is a new situation. Whatever is causing this, the chaos, the mass confusion, is something new, but it has ties to a past dynamic or situation, because it's almost like it's the same problem, just with a new face, is kind of how that's feeling. And then here you have the conjunction card, which I love so much. Because this is the unity card. It talks about like love and coming together, but it's also bringing in this energy of like the sun, right? Which is you, Leo, this light energy, the sunlight, and sort of this darkness, whatever is causing the confusion. Because I feel like you and this energy, I'm actually going to say that this might be a person, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be a situation that you're being brought into this space, or brought together with this situation or this energy, in order to perhaps clear whatever this is, whatever this past thing that is pulling on you. Okay, so I know that's a lot, but we're going to keep going into the cards here. So we have the three of Wands and the Death card, which I love. So this is the confusion card, right? The thing that's shrouded in darkness, the thing that you can't quite see. I feel like you are pulling something in though, Leo, with this, because this card always looks to me like changing the sails on a ship, for example, right? Like if you like pulling on the ropes, right? So it could be that you're making a lot of like quick decisions, or you're pivoting, or you're just making a lot of like forward actions in order to chart your own course. It's kind of how that card's feeling. And in the process, it's kind of like you are pulling on this energy. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's almost like pulling up the screen, where it's like this confusion energy is getting slowly more and more filled with light, is how that's feeling. And I feel like you're feeling that. On some level, right? On some level, there's this kind of energy here of like, you're aware that there's something there, but you can't quite see what it is what that's feeling like. Okay. And then what came out next here is you had the Hierophant, which actually flipped out in reverse. So the Hierophant, of course, talks about like teaching, so it could be spiritual teaching, but to me, this always looks like discovering the gem of a situation, right? Like finding some sort of treasure, gaining the pearl, that kind of thing. So it could be that it's so interesting because it coming out in reverse, which I feel like it's like the situation is wanting you to go back to the past and revisit whatever this ash energy is, right? Whatever that is. But it kind of feels like there's a reluctance to do that because maybe it was painful, or there was a decision that you regretted, or it was just a situation that was like, it was unclear whether or not you did the right thing. Maybe. Something like that. But what I feel like you're gonna discover here is the Ace of Swords, right? It is the truth, but I feel like the truth may be difficult for you, maybe because it's like there was a mistake made or something like that, I want to say, especially because it's coming out with the Devil, which I feel like is just talking about a lesson. There was some sort of lesson learned in whatever this past situation was, and it's kind of like it's needing to be cleared. I feel like this is over though, right? It's not like you have to it's not like you're in this situation right now. It's just kind of like revisiting it so that you can gain the truth from that situation and then let it go. Because for right now, it still feels like because there's been a reluctance to look at it, it's still holding on. That's basically what that feels like. Because there's a reluctance to look at whatever this is, it's still there. You need to actually look at what the thing is, to go back and like dig out the pearl so that the situation can finally be released, is what that's feeling like. And I want to say as well that in doing that, because I think that this chaos, like the mass confusion card, whatever this is, it's on some level, I feel like you're feeling it or experiencing it as a devil energy of some sort, right? It's causing the protection energy, not wanting to like be pulled in by this, right? Because not wanting to be pulled in by it is what that's feeling like, which is interesting. Okay, so if I just shift gears for a little bit. So this is the protection card, right? You're very much in this like open energy is what this is feeling like. You're making a lot of quick decisions, or like being able to build and grow whatever it is that you're wanting to build and grow. Because the first card out, which is your energy today, the Rain card, right? If you just compare these two, there's something growing here, right? It's kind of like it's like you're nurturing something. So it feels like you are very much both in like the feminine sort of nurturing energy, but also the masculine energy of like being able to take actions and shift and also protect, right? There's this kind of energy here of like, it just feels like you're doing amazingly, Leo. It kind of feels like whatever it is you're doing, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of like there's something on the outside of you, external to you, that is causing you to like either like clam up or be in a protective mode, because you're not sure if that thing that is being that situation that you're being pulled into is right for you, or that you are going to make the right decision when you're in it, is kind of how it's feeling. Because it's coming out here with the North expansion card. This is very much that sort of like the darkness, right? It's kind of like, I want to say that it's kind of like this is the energy that you're resisting, the North expansion, because it's kind of like you're in this space, right? You're in this place where you're wanting to like put down roots maybe, or something like that, right? Whatever it is that you're building, you're wanting to settle down is what that's feeling like in whatever project this is. But it's like this thing is almost like pulling you away from that, is kind of how that's feeling, right? It's like in order to figure out what this energy is, right? In order to shine more light into what this confusion is, you would actually have to leave this place and go there, is kind of how that's feeling. And perhaps you're reluctant to do that. That might be sort of why it's like you're hesitating, you're not wanting to go this way, because, which is interesting, because it's almost like in order to go there, you would have to go into your past. So this might be a past energy, which is interesting. It's kind of like, well, they're all the same, right? On some level, I feel like it's all the same. It's like you would have to expand into your past, maybe. I feel like it's not even like you would have to go anywhere, right? I feel like this is not saying that you have to pick up and leave this place. You're actually just having to go on some sort of like, perhaps like inner journey or something like that, in order to figure out what it is that's calling you in this space. Because the next card to come out is it's coming out here with the Hanged Man, which I love, because this is this energy. These are the same energies to me. So it's not saying that you have to pick up and leave this energy, right? This is secure. I feel like this is safe. You don't have to worry about whatever this is, but it's like this energy is wanting you to go into it, because look at the landscape. It looks almost identical if I just put it like that. And you being the light, right? You're this sun energy. And it's kind of like you need to be in this space in order to shed light on whatever it is that needs your attention here. I don't know what that is. It could be, but I want to say that there's something here about like, I don't know. You're going to have to figure that part out by yourself. I don't know what that is that needs to be looked, or like what wants to be shown to you there. But what's coming out next, I want to say that this is, so it could be, so you're coming out here with these three very abundant growth cards, which is really interesting. So the growth plants, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Empress. So I want to say that it could be that this is an energy that you're connecting with in this space, right? So because it's coming in with a lot of feminine energy, which is really interesting, and it's coming through like this is you starting off, like, or where you are now after this sort of expansion, or perhaps like the Hanged Man, right? Like a journey into self in some way, or exploration of, I don't know, getting a new perspective on your past energy, right? I want to say it's very positive. It doesn't have any sort of like, because it could, especially if it's related to like a decision that you made in the past, you may be feeling like you made the wrong decision. And I want to say that this is saying that it's the perspective that's wanting to be experienced is that there's no such thing as a wrong decision, is kind of how that's feeling, because in that decision, you learned something, right? Like you made a choice. There was consequences that played out. Whether or not it was the right or the wrong decision, now you know better, in like you've gained some sort of wisdom in order to not make this, like in order to it's just feeling like perhaps there's a fear of consequences is what this is feeling like. There may be a fear of consequences of some sort, like there's a fear perhaps of like making the wrong decision, or another way of putting that maybe is like, I don't know. I don't know what that is for you, Leo. It's just kind of feeling like, especially with this, because you are pulling in a lot, right? You're doing a lot of like really positive actions in order to create what it is that you're creating, right? You have all of this like really lovely, abundant energy. And it's kind of like perhaps there's a hesitation in moving towards the next thing because you don't want to make the wrong decision. And so what this energy is trying to tell you is that if you are willing to get a new sort of perspective on your past, you'll see that, especially if it's like surrounding a very big decision, that any decision that you make from this point on is going to be this, right? The growth, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Empress. It's not at all anything about like, this is right, this is wrong, or this is... Every decision that you make will be an energy of growth, no matter what. There's nothing here that you can do that's going to take away from what you've built, right? It's not anything that's going to backtrack, or it's not a situation that's going to, like, you make the wrong decision and then everything just explodes in your face. It's nothing like that. What this is showing me is that any decision that you make, regardless of whether or not it's like, I don't know. It feels like just like there's like a fear of missing out, actually. How this is such a trivial example, but what I was thinking of before this reading is kind of like when my sister was young, when we would go out to dinner as a family, like she would have such a difficult time just choosing what she wanted to eat. Like, she would look at the menu and would always be stuck between two dishes, right? For the longest time, she was always the one who was the last to decide what she wanted. Like, the waiter would have to come back because she still hadn't decided. It's that kind of energy. And then when she finally chose something, while she was eating her meal, she was like, oh, I should have picked the other one, right? I feel like there's almost like this fear of missing out, where it's like there's perhaps like a worry that if you pick one dish or pick one decision, it's like you're missing out on the other. But I want to say that that's not true. That's not at all the case here, because it's almost like if that is the case, right? If it is that you pick something and then end up like wanting to go back, I feel like there will be an opportunity for that. Perhaps it's like you have to finish that meal, but there will be another opportunity for you to go back to that restaurant. Let's just continue with that metaphor and pick the other thing if that's what you really want. But it's kind of like there's this energy here of like fearing missing out on whatever because you made the wrong decision or whatever it is. But the key to the key to not having the fear of missing out is just doing what you want to be doing, right? Like, just do what you want. Even if there's this energy that's pulling on you that is kind of like saying no, or just like because how she ended up choosing my sister in the restaurant, she would end up choosing the one that was less expensive, which is very, very characteristic of who she is as a person. So it's kind of like she would there was two dishes. One was more expensive. Perhaps that's the one that she wanted more. But because she was like considering the amount of money being spent on dinner, she would pick the one that was less expensive. So that, you know, I don't know, it was cheaper by like $1 or something. And she would pick the one that was less expensive because for whatever reason, I feel like maybe there's a circumstance here for you, Leo, maybe because it is coming through with a lot of Pentacles energy. Perhaps you're choosing something that is easier on some level of like resources or something, even though the one that you want takes a little bit more effort or more investment, maybe, even though that's the one that you want, right? So it's kind of like, there's a choice here between perhaps something that you really, really want, but it's gonna take longer. Or the thing that's perhaps easier, there's less an investment of energy or resources, but it's not quite the thing that you need, right? Obviously that's up to you. I feel like if there's an energy here of like hesitating because, or just like having to wait, maybe that's what the Hanged Man might be. It's just like having to wait until whatever this new thing is ready, right? Because it's kind of like there's so much abundance here, but I feel like it's not quite ready yet in some, or whatever it is. Even if it's not ready, it's like there's resources that need to be gathered or something like that before it's ready. And it's like, this is what you want to move towards, but it would require patience or this hanged man energy. I know that's so frustrating to hear. But anyways, Leo, I'm going to end the reading there. Or actually, no, I'm gonna include these two cards as well. You have here the Magic and the Adventure South, which I really love. Because this Magic card is very much... I'm getting like super warm. Okay. And the Conjunction card. So these two cards I see as being very similar. The Magic card I see as like bringing together of two energies, right? I'm seeing these as like two people. It doesn't have to be a person. It could just be you and a situation, right? Being brought together in order to create something. I feel like this is the thing that you're really, really wanting, but has more of a longer time to wait, or there's more patience involved, or there's more resources needing to be invested into this situation in order to get it, something like that. But then you have the Adventure South card, which is really lovely because it's kind of like, it's this energy, because this Expansion North card often feels very solitary. I feel like perhaps up until this point, there's been, like you've been journeying solo is kind of how this is feeling. Making a lot of decisions or all this stuff by yourself, independently. I feel like whatever this new thing is, this thing that's going to take more investment, it's going to be more of a partnership is kind of how this is feeling. Or just like there's others, because it's kind of like you're here in this spacesuit. Just so interesting, because I was just looking at these interviews this morning about like the astronauts that are about to circle the moon, right? Which is so interesting. Okay, and then so it kind of feels like you're going to be part of a team, maybe of some sort. There's going to be something that's different from this energy. I feel like perhaps this, though, you kind of have to revisit in some way in order to gain whatever this this wisdom is that is needing to be integrated in order for this to happen. Okay, Leo, that's a long reading. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in the extended, we're going to talk about what else you may need to know about the situation. The link for that's in the description box below. I'm also doing a sale on personal readings until April 19th. So if you're interested in one of those, info is also in the description box below. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.